So are you thinking about scaling your Amazon business? Well, in this video today, I'm going to share with you some advice and top tips on growing your Amazon business based on the questions asked by other Amazon sellers. Stay tuned. Right, if you don't know who I am, my name is Thomas Parkinson and I've been doing online arbitrage for the last 5 years. And I'm a 7-figure Amazon seller with 2 Amazon businesses right now, the UK and the USA. And hopefully in the near future, I'm going to expand into another marketplace. And if you're interested in learning what I've done and how I'm doing it, do make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Now, before I jump into the content itself, let me tell you that in the next chapter, what I'm going to be doing is sharing with you some extracts from my weekly YouTube live that I do every single Monday, which, should we say, I've put together some content around how to grow your Amazon business and all the questions that are being asked about me on that weekly live together in this video. By going through this video, you're going to get free advice on Amazon loans, opening up Amazon accounts, and other topics related to your Amazon business. Now, these are common questions that people are asking me every single week that I think would be really good to put together within, should we say, this video today so that you can watch it as well. Now, in addition to that, you can learn from the experience that I've had over the last 5 years of selling on Amazon and growing my businesses as well. Here's the video now.
There's more VAs and more Amazon loans. Well, I think, look, at the very fundamental level is, I think before you think about it that way, you've got to think like, what are you trying to achieve? And if I think about it in perspective of like what you're trying to achieve is, if you are purely growing revenue numbers, if that's your definition of growing an Amazon business, and it might not be, because it could be that I want a quality of life, or it could be that I want to earn a maximum amount of profit for just me and no staff. I don't want the headache of that. But if you are purely growing revenue numbers, let's go to an extreme. Let's say, for example, you want to do 100 million. I don't think you'd be able to do that. I think it'd be a lot harder to try and do that on your own without staff and a lot of cash. And I'm not saying you need to take Amazon loans. I'm not saying you need to hire VAs, but I'm saying if you're just going to the big numbers, then you're probably going to need, you're probably going to do it. But I think your thing is like, just first of all, define what growing a business is. And then second of all, then you can look at the ways of doing it and ask great questions. Find people who've done that. For me personally, my definition of growing an Amazon business has always been about extracting me. So maximum profitability with least amount of work. And I think the measure of success would be profit per hour worked, if that makes sense. I don't know the exact number, but because I don't really bother measuring it, I don't need to, but that's the one measure of success of being growth. So how can I do more profit without having to work less? Or maybe I can go from like £100 an hour to £300 an hour by doing extra 2 hours a week. Yeah, fine, I'll do that. That'd be my definition. But generally speaking, if you're just trying to grow top line revenue numbers, it's always a balance between finding more deals, buying those deals, and then shipping, getting them sold quickly and turning the money. That's it. So there's a balance between finding deals, which is generally VAs, but you can use lead sheets and stuff, buying the deals, which is also admin, physically buying them, but also the cash to buy. And then it's the logistics and selling it through the Amazon cycle, getting it back again. And so that's a bit more admin. So there's operations as well as VAs and admin though. So yeah, but if you've followed my journey, yeah, I have a lot of VAs.
Would you say it is realistic to scale to 85,000, I'm guessing, in sales in 1 year with 2,000 without any loans and reinvestment profit? So first things first, I'm not going to say it's impossible. It's definitely possible. Obviously you can do it. So let's kind of do some math. I'm just going to get a calculator out here. So I'm going to be really realistic. So we've got £2,000, right? And I'm going to be really nice. Let's say, for example, you're averaging, let's call it 60% ROI. My God, if you're doing 60% ROI, fantastic. And we're going to assume 60% ROI is not including, let's call it 80% ROI. 80% is really good. And by the way, it includes all your prep costs. So 80% ROI, so 2,000. And by the way, we're going to assume, because remember, it's going to take you time to buy a product, ship it to Amazon, get it sold, and then 14 days to wait for the money back. I don't think it's realistic to be able to do it in 1 month, but I do think you can do it in 2 months. So the question comes is, if you can do it in 2 months, i.e. spend your 2,000 today, and in 2 months you've got it back, plus the profit, I think that's realistic. So if it takes 2 months, you can flip it 6 times. So 2,000 at 80% ROI, this times 0.8 means at the end of month 2, it's going to be 1,000. Oh, no, get it right, Tom. 2,000 times 1.8. So the initial investment, now you've got 3,600. So that's the end of February. So month 2, so we did it 6 times, 1.8. So that's the second time times, so this is just revenue, by the way, sales, or how much you're flipping. Oh my God, I'm going to kind of do this. It's a bit dangerous. 2,000. Okay, sorry, because you're asking the question in revenue. 2,000. Let's say, for example, you're buying something for 2,000 and you're selling it for 6,000. Normally, you buy something for 10, sell it for 20. But we're choosing a good ROI. You're not asking about profits. You're asking about revenue. So, say, for example, we buy it for 2 and then we times it by 3. It gets really complex. So I'm just going to kind of have a play. Sorry, 2,000 times by 3 that equals 6,000. In sales, so we've got 6,000, and then we're going to assume you've got like 3,000 back times by 3, 6,000, 9,000. I guess get a calculator out. So if I do, it goes 6, 9, 6 plus 9 plus 12 plus 15 plus 18. I think one more plus 21. Yeah, possibly. Like possibly. You're like, I'm not going to lie, you could really, you know, yeah, it is, like you can, but you're going to get really high ROIs. So I'll remove that. So long story short, is it realistic to scale to LD5K? Yes, it is. Of course it is. Is it profitable? Yes, but is it likely? No, because 2,000 is a too low a starting rate. Generally, you can flip it 6 times, and if you can double your money each time, you can do it. But you're talking about revenue, not profits. So it's quite a complex thing. I'd need a spreadsheet, but I was just going to do it. Yes, you can do it. Yes, you can stay under the 85. But you really don't care. Stop worrying about revenue. Think about profits. That's what you're looking at.
Ishak, currently doing OA and wholesale, and I hope to get into private label eventually. Would you recommend opening up a new seller account and LTD for this? You don't need to. If you want to, if you are just doing private label, you can create another selling account under the same LTD. You just need different bank accounts. It is possible. Top tip for you, look, I'm just going to share through if you're doing OA, wholesale and private label, but my advice would be like, make sure you're at least doing 7 figures and OA and wholesale, and you have a whole team who can do that for you, and you can run it in like 4 hours a week, Tim Ferriss style, before you start private label. I've met so many private label sellers, like number one, it eats cash. Number two, it takes up time. And if you just don't have both of those in massive abundance, hence why I'm talking about 7 figures, you're just going to slow down your growth. Like you're going to slow down your journey. So make sure OA and wholesale, probably 7 figures, make sure you've got a whole team running it for you. So then you can focus on your private label product. What is successful business for you? For example, if you made 10K USD sales per month, what should be your minimum net profit for you? I know it's a general question, but I want to know your opinion about it. Great question, but you could look at this a lot of ways. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say, for example, now, and I'm going to try and simplify it. In my USA business, we make 100,000 in sales per year. And let's say, for example, and in that 100,000, I made 10K net profit. Fantastic, so 10% net margin. People might be like, okay, not brilliant, but it's okay. And let's say, for example, I put $20,000 in. So you'd be like, okay, I put $20,000 in. I made 100,000 in sales. I made 10K net profit. So my ROI over the course of the year was 50%. Not huge, but it gives you an idea. But you're working at 10% margin. Okay, fine. Now the other one, let's say for example, my USA business, let's say for example, I made $1 million profit. And let's say for example, I made, let's call it 5% net margin. So now I only made 50,000. So margin's half of what the US is. And you might be like, well, actually it's not as good. But what's interesting is, what if I told you that I put 0 amount of cash into my UK business and I used all other people's money? Yes, my margin is worse, but what's very interesting is that my ROI on my investment is infinite, because I put 0 cash in and I made 50,000 cash out. So, one's got the USA's got a better margin. It's got a better margin for the revenue. And you might think that's great. But another one's got a worse margin, but ROI investment is better. So what's a successful business to me? And I think if I really defined it, my measure of successful business would be 2 things. Actually, if I had to do one metric, it would be profit per hour worked. That's it. That's really it. That's the one thing I'd look at. And I appreciate there are going to be times in any business, like when you're building it and building a team, your profit per hour worked to be massively down. But over the long term, let's say for example now my UK business, we did 3 million in the last 12 months. And even if you're running at a 5% net margin, that's 150,000, which we're not, by the way, we do more than that. But per hour worked, 1 hour a week, like that's 50. So if I just get the calculator out, even if we're doing a 5%, £150,000 divided by 52 hours, because 1 hour a week, £2,884 per hour worked. I'll take that. That's really good. And if you want to know a lot about my UK businesses, I do use a lot of debt, a lot of credit, and that's other people's money. ROI on investment is insanely high. Whereas the US, we're not using credit cards, we're not using debt. I have to invest a lot of money in that. So Accessible business, define it by profit per hour worked. That'd be it. I hope that makes sense. Carlos Aguirre, do you think it's possible to scale an OA business to over 5 billion here in the USA? Yeah, 100%. My God, I know someone who did 10 million in the last 12 months. You can double that. Absolutely, no problem. No problem. I know people who doubled that. Like 100%, easy peasy. And they know people doing multiple 8 figures a year doing OA in the US. Multiple 8 figures. Right? It is possible. 100%. And also what you're going to realize is Amazon's getting bigger, so there's more and more opportunity. So yes, 100%.
It's accounting for the 2 marketplaces. Do you need a program or do you hire a company? I do it all myself. Right, course down below. FastTrackFBA.com admin course. That documents all the processes, all the procedures, all the SOPs that we use within my business to do the accounting. You get your Xero set up, you get your Link My Book set up to pull in the Amazon data. We also connect it to the bank accounts, to the credit cards. We then go and fetch the invoices. We do all that. We also take stock takes at the beginning of the month. We do what's known as stock usage, how we put that into the actual account. And then my team will create, then they'll then make sure the accounts balance with the actual statements. And then once they've done that, we'll generate a balance sheet, and then we'll generate a P&L. And then my team will actually present that to me as a full P&L every single month. We do that as a standard, and the net result is that I know exactly where my business is at from an asset point of view, and also from a profit and loss point of view. And also what we do is we compare the what like Seller Toolkit or Seller Board cost of goods says and ROI versus what the accounts are saying. And the real one is the accounts. The accounts is true because Seller Toolkit is good, but it doesn't take into account like losses or variances that are unknown to it, whereas the account take into everything. That's a proper accounting methodology used, and that course down below does that. So if you are interested, join the beta. But yeah, we because we have 2 companies, it's all separate, but we could easily, like, if we wanted to just have one company selling in the UK and US, the process would be exactly the same. Like, it's no real problem. So I hope that makes sense.
Rough Travel, what would be your advice to scale? So let's be clear, great question, by the way. We're going to make a couple of assumptions. Number 1, you're doing OA. You can pretty much do this with wholesale, but you're doing it with OA. Number 2 is the fact that you're already making profit, got to be profitable. And I'm not talking about yellow bars or even kind of like your Seller Toolkit or like Seller Board or whatever software you're using says you're profitable. It's got to be that you've done your full accounts, i.e. like your Xero accounts, QuickBooks accounts, and you know you've got profit. Like you've got to, no point scaling if you're not profitable. Don't do that. So really, generally speaking, when you're looking to scale, there's 3 kind of things you've got to look at. And I think this is evident in any business. Number 1 is your time. Whenever you scale, as you grow, you kind of grow problems and you need time to fix them. So number 1 is your time. Number 2 is money. And generally in our business, it's money. Stock eats money, so you're going to need more money. And then finally, number 3 is resources. Now, resources are generally people, actually hiring people, which are going to help you to invest that money into finding a product. And the way it kind of works is out of time, money, and resources, is that you're going to use the resources to invest the money to make an ROI on it. And by doing more of that, you're going to have problems which you need time to be able to fix and to resolve. And how do you do that? Well, you do SOP, standard operating procedures, etc., etc. My general advice is you're going to be looking at them at all times. So if you've got too much time, that's, don't ever try and grow the other 2 without having spare time. Always make time available. Like, if you haven't got time, you've got a problem. And you should be like running your business on 1 day a week. And that's operationally, and then spending 4 days a week solving the problems your business creates with a mindset of you're only solving them once, you don't have to keep doing them. Are you like buying stock isn't a scalable solution. Finding someone to buy the stock for you who will continue to buy the stock thereafter, that's a scalable solution. So long as you can eventually stop, that's scalable, that's scaling. But if you're doing the work day in, day out, that's not scaling. So then your time to spend getting more money or finding ways to invest that money, i.e. resources with people to do it. And I hope that kind of makes sense. And really, what is it? It's building processes that will happen without you. I.e. like in my business, USA, we're about to do 6 figures. We have sourcing PAs. Their job is to find deals, find deals that we can buy. And my job is to really support them to make sure that they can do it. Now, the next one is you have an admin VA. Their job is to manage the whole end-to-end process, all the stock, all the accounts, everything. End-to-end done. Then the next one is you have a purchasing manager who buys the deal, analyzes and buys the deals from the sources. And interestingly enough, my purchasing manager manages the team. So we've really got someone managing the team. They have KPIs or clear objectives to achieve to grow the business. And then my job is just to watch that whole system and to find problems, and then to say, oh, you need some more money. Oh, okay, we've got loads of money now, we're not spending it, we need more resources. Okay, well, let's hire some more staff. Okay, cool. Well, we've got money, we've got resources, but I don't think the resources are doing well enough. So, okay, let's think about how we utilize those resources. That's pretty much it. Are you like finding better deals, better ROI? Or maybe the ROI isn't good enough. Okay, we need to improve that. And that's where the time comes in. So I hope that makes sense. I spent a lot of time talking about that. But great question. Really, really great question. I hope that makes sense.
K a month in revenue. I'm struggling with sourcing enough and building systems in order to scale to a point where I quit 9 to 5. Do you think we're getting a mentor? Maybe. Look, I don't know how many hours you've got. If you're doing 9 to 5, and assuming you're not doing kind of like a lot more work, I think you can grow a lot bigger. Like, I really think you can grow a lot bigger. I know people with jobs who are doing way over 10, maybe over 20. It could be the product mix that you're doing, maybe higher value you want to do. Maybe if it's like you're spending a lot of time sourcing, then like you said it there, I'm struggling with sourcing. So like two things. Number one, why not look at lead service? We've closed our lead service at the moment, but like you can look at other lead services or ours. When we join, you get 25% extra tokens if you do it. Or you can look at a sourcing VA. I'm not saying you should, because you probably won't have enough cash for them. But really your problem is about finding enough deals to buy. Maybe buddy up with some other people who are doing it. Like that could be an option. Share deals, buy them. Really, I think for you is about maybe looking at how many hours a day you're spending and how many deals I'm finding per hour, and really trying to improve that and thinking of all the different ways. There's so many different ways. Like share, can you tell me, Phil, can you tell me how many hours a week you're working on your business? If it's like 1 hour a week and you're doing 3K, fantastic. If you're working like 45 hours a week or 20 hours a week outside of your job, I'd probably say you could be doing so much more. Even if it's like outsourcing your prep, that could be an option, because then you're freeing up time to source more. Let me know how many hours a week you're working on your business and how that breaks down. Online arbitrage business model. Do you make it exclusive? Do you own this online websites, wholesale? No. Like just buy more stuff. There's a reason why I have 12 sourcing VAs in the UK. Like that's how we've managed to get to like 3 million. 3 million? Yeah, I think it's 3 million. Should get it right. Yeah. Look, we're getting down. You can see it there. I'll put it there. 3.5 million. Literally, like we're banned from so many websites. The Hut Group, they do like so much we can't buy from them at all. So like you can buy more than we can because we're banned. So no, we don't make any exclusive agreements from them at all. My God, if you think even like 3 million is not 3 million is nothing. Like the top stores will be doing that every day in sales. Like Ocado, like you can buy so much from them. And just be like mindful. Yeah, build a team. That's it. I can't source 3 million on my own. You were like 70 to 80K per year in the UK market some years ago. What was your break even point? How has it changed that quick to 7 digits? What's the reason you set your own VA system or different strategy? So 70, 80, like if you go onto my Fast Track FBA YouTube channel, look at the £1 million journey. We were doing probably about 30 to 35,000 a month at that point. Like you can see the whole journey up to 1 million. And I just documented like how I planned it, what my whole plan was. A really good video. Like I planned my £1 million journey. I'd really recommend watching that. Break even point, I don't know, but you could do the math through the video calculation. That's fine. I even do a full P&L breakdown. Like you can see like what my plan is in strategic. So you can see the break even if you want to calculate that, but I don't know. How has it changed? I just had a goal and I worked damn hard to get there. Like really hard. You can see it. You can follow the whole journey, the £1 million journey. And then what's the reason you set your own VA system? I'm not too sure what you mean by that, but like we know what we're doing with VAs. Yep. Or a different strategy. Look, at the end of the day, like I'm quite lazy in the respect like I will work really hard to solve a problem, but once I've solved it, I don't want to do it again. So but also I have management experience in the past, so I think building a team is really important, hence why we hire VAs. Do you have any advice on how to run or manage your FBA business? Wow, that is absolutely huge. If I were to make it very summary quick, define what your measure of success is, the ultimate goal. Most people talk about it like I want profit. Now, what does that mean? Well, define it as in like I want the most amount of cash profit. And give it a goal like, hey, I want to make £2,000 or dollars cash profit per month that I can take from my business and maybe still grow it. Cool. So what does that mean? Well, I need to make 3,000 or 4,000 a month, take 2 out myself, and then I've got 2 to reinvest to keep it growing. Also as well, define what the time frame is, like how much time you can allocate to do it. And then once you've defined those kind of like overarching big goals, you can start to break it down and go, okay, cool. If we need to make 2,000 or 4,000 pounds profit, how do we do that? Well, 4,000 profit might be like a 10% net margin, $40,000 or pounds per month in sales, and you might have 20 hours a week to do it on. Okay, so how's that going to break down? You start to do it. So really, in my business, we're always looking at that big goal and then trying to work backwards. And there's kind of two areas we look at. One is which is creating change towards the big goals, i.e. where we are now, what needs to change to get there. And then the other one is maintaining excellence. So the measure behind it to maintain excellence might be like, reduced amount of IP complaints, customer feedback, good, review scores, seller review scores, cash flow fine, like all these kind of things that you just got to maintain. And then you're doing other change projects which work you towards it. That's it. Big question, Tom. And if there's something particular that you're looking for, drop it down below. And obviously I can kind of give you a more specific advice. But it's quite a broad question right now. It's like, how do you start selling on Amazon? Like, it's huge.
Right. What I will say now is that after going through my videos and the advice on that, should we say, from Amazon sellers about questions about growing your business, you might want to consider watching a video I created previously called How Virtual Assistants Help Grow Your Amazon Business. Check this out. I'll put it now on the screen. Now, hopefully you've liked this video. If you have, give me a big thumbs up. And hey, if you want to see more videos like this, do hit the subscribe button down below. But for myself, Thomas Parkinson and Fast Track FBA, thank you very much.